Penny, you don't come out and talk because of that civil litigation that's pending?
Absolutely, Connell. You just want to say thank you to the jury. I'm glad I got the result I did, but he still faces a civil suit. He should not be talking about this substantively at all, and I doubt he will.
What did you make of the actual case here? There have been some in New York, depends obviously what side you're on in all of this, who were critical of the district attorney, Alvin Bragg, for even bringing it. In Bragg's statement, he talks about the fact here that their lengthy deliberation, the jury, and the totality of the facts and evidence underscored why this case was put in front of a jury of Mr. Penny's peers. Is that right, you think?
I think it is right. I didn't have any problem with this case being put in front of a jury. And I know Alvin Bragg faced a lot of criticism. They faced a lot of hurdles to bring this case, to get it in front of a jury. But they did that, and this is what's supposed to happen. We bring in a jury of 12 of his peers. They get to hear the evidence over a long period of time. They get to deliberate the case, which they did over 4 days. They called back a lot of evidence. They had the judge reread some of the instructions. I mean, they did their job, and then they render a verdict. And that verdict goes one way or the other, but it was still a righteous case to bring.
I have a quick clip from Mayor Adams here in New York, who spoke about the verdict earlier. So let me play that, and then we'll come back and talk some more. Here's the mayor.
We have a mental health system that is broken. When you have someone repeatedly going through that system, that's a signature of failure. And we need help in Albany and in the city council. We can't sit back and mourn the loss of someone that is caught up in this system when we're not taking the action every day.
So that's the kind of the politics of it that are in the background of this case, and you wonder how much the jury thought about issues like that as well. I mean, to your earlier point, it's clear they struggled with this. Otherwise, there would have been a unanimous verdict much earlier on the manslaughter charge last week.
That's right. That's right. They did struggle with it, and I was surprised when they were hung on the manslaughter charge on Friday that they would come back in Monday and find him not guilty. That seemed like the least likely verdict as a follow-up to being hung on manslaughter. And very quickly, right? And very quickly. Well, I think what happened is there was a minority of the jury that was for guilty, and probably over the weekend they gave up. They probably came in, the harder charge had been dismissed, the weight of the jury was against them in all those days of deliberations, and I think whoever it was that was going for a conviction probably decided this morning, I'm done, I'm not getting anywhere in these deliberations.
It could have been one person, right?
It could have been one person. We don't know, and I'm not sure if we ever know. And by the way, that's entirely an appropriate thing to happen in a jury room. That's why we have deliberations. That's why we don't have this decided by one person. We have 12 people. They bring their different views. They bring their life experiences. They debate, they deliberate, and they come up with a verdict.
But in this case, they had an either-or, right? They could have chosen from one charge that would have put him in jail for maximum 15 years, the manslaughter charge, or this one I think was up to 4 years. What about the way it was constructed? Because you couldn't convict on both.
Right, but it wasn't really an either-or because they had to decide the manslaughter, the higher charge, first.
Right.
And that was the struggle on Friday. They were hung on manslaughter, and the defense said the whole case is a hung jury, and the prosecution, they took a gamble. They said, we'll dismiss the higher charge so we can get to a jury decision on negligence. That was a gamble by the prosecution, and they lost.
You know, final thing they did, what would you say to people? I mean, it's fine for us to sit around and talk and think theoretically and about this, and for you to explain all the legalities of it to people who are, and there are always going to be people, especially in a case that's this highly charged, that are upset with this verdict and think, you know what, here we go again. The system is stacked against us. We heard some of that outside the courthouse today. What do you say to that?
I totally understand that. You know, there's a chain of cases like this where minorities are the victims and non-minorities seem to be the defendants. Most of them happen with police officers. This is an odd one where it's a civilian and a minority defendant. I totally understand people being upset about that, and their right to be, and they can protest and talk about it. And the one thing I agree with Mayor Adams, who I don't always agree with, is the mental health issue needs focus. There is no reason that Jordan Neely should have died on that subway that day. No reason.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tragic case, no matter what. And today we did get the verdict, not guilty. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Now, 20 past the... Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.